Yo, welcome back to Fighting with Friends. It's your boy, brother Guy. We are live for our weekend recap of this weekend's fight week. Obviously, we had UFC 321, as you can see on screen, but I also will be recapping one Friday fights 130, which was also quite a fun, entertaining fight card. Great matchups, lots of knockouts, and I'll get through all of that later in the program. Before I get through all of that, please drop a like, share, and comment on our channel. Get involved in the banter. We're going to be recapping some of these fights, and I'm pretty sure that you've got some insights or some opinions about what happened over the weekend with regards to obviously the UFC 321 with the main event as well as the co-main event with Mackenzie Dern and Virna Jandiroba. Okay, but before I do that, like I said, drop a like, drop a share. You just have brother Gaia today. AD's got other obligations, but you will be able to get involved in the live chat as we go along. But thank you to all the people that were tuning into our lives over the past weekend as well. Much love to all of you guys. You give us more and more reason to want to do it. Obviously, this weekend things might look a little bit different, but I'll get into that towards the end of the show. But for now, I'm gonna get straight into it. UFC 321 live, Yas Island, Abu Dhabi, Aspinall and Gane. Yeah, what can I say? I see the fan base seems to be divided between what they think about this fight. Some people are saying that Aspinall could have fought through it. Some people saying that he was getting pieced up, and that's probably why he called onto it. I don't know. I feel like that the eye poke was legit. I really do. I think it was a legitimate eye poke. Whether Ciryl Gane did it on purpose or not, the fact is his eyes did go into his fingers did go into his eyes, and yeah, I think if anyone is anybody and you get eye poked, whether it's intentional, whether you poke yourself in the eye by accident, whether anything that goes into your eye, I'm pretty sure you know how uncomfortable that is. I imagine you in a fight and someone pushes out their fingers to measure distance, or they flick their fingers in your eye, or they put the fingers go into the eye because they want to, push off and get away from you. Um, yeah, I think fighters can tell you that that is a very uncomfortable thing to deal with. Sometimes it's not that bad, but I think just generally speaking, an eye poke is just not a nice thing to deal with because your eyes are so sensitive, right? And I mean that was two fingers in both eyes, and it was pretty bad. I see some people were saying also that wait, I don't know, make it this panel going here. There we go. I see some people on X are saying that Tom Aspinall was getting beaten up prior to that moment. I'm not so sure. I'm talking about this now because it wasn't the full first round, right? Fight was getting warmed up. We were about to get into a second round. We were about to go into a second, third, and see where the fight was going to go. Um, and I see some people are saying that Tom Aspinall was getting pieced up. Now, again, I'm not so sure. I will say this: Ciryl Gane's jabs were very accurate. They were super accurate, and that's what was busting up Tom Aspinall's. When he was bleeding through his nose, the jabs were landing. They were landing consistently. I mean, Ciryl Gane's jabs looked really good on the day. But I mean, that's Ciryl Gane for you, right? In a lot of his fights, you will see him work the jab often and circle to his right and drop the jab and circle to his right and drop the jab, and that's what he does. Um, but Aspinall was catching him. Aspinall was the one that was actually catching him. He started the round really hard and put the pressure on Ciryl Gane and caught him a few times with some heavy shots. And Ciryl Gane immediately got backed up and forced to fight the defensive fight. He didn't throw any of his teeps out. He didn't throw any of his body kicks out, which I thought was a little bit interesting. I expected Ciryl Gane to actually attack the body a lot, especially on the outside, especially when he's fighting backwards. I expected some teeps and body kicks to come out, but they didn't come out. Um, and Espinal was landing the bigger and heavier shots. Now, they didn't put Khan down, but they rocked him a couple of times and they backed him up and forced him to fight that defensive fight. So I don't know if I agree with the notion that Ciryl Gane was actually winning the round before the eye poke. I really don't see it. I think Espinal was catching him more. Ciryl Gane was just pushing out that jab a lot. And yes, it was consistent, but I mean, we saw a fight Sean Strickland and Drickus, where Sean Strickland was landing so many jabs, but no power shots, no damaging shots, and then TDP was the one that was landing all the heavier bombs, and that's why he won the fight. And same thing over here. Within that first round, from what I could gather, I think Tom landed the heavier shots. Yes, he was getting jabbed all the time when he came in on the entry, but he made sure he landed these combinations and was backing him. And you could see that he was getting warmed up. You could see that he started the round so aggressively, and then like the last 2 minutes of that first round of the round, you could see Tom Aspinall sort of like settle in and like get into a more relaxed state while fighting, whereas Gane was sort of slowly finding that jab range as the first round was going on. And then obviously the eye poke ended it all. And yeah, gutted about the eye poke. Can't really, pardon me, can't cry over spilt milk. I saw in the post-fight press conference that Dana White was reluctantly saying that there's going to be a rematch for this fight. They're going to have to rebook it. And yeah, I think everybody's going to want to see the rematch. That's the reality of it. I think everybody's going to want to see the rematch because it's unfinished business. The fight didn't end in a particular way that would have, said, okay, someone next. I think this has to be the next fight again. And I'm going to stick with my guns. And when the fight gets rematched, I think Tom Aspinall wins the fight. I saw some footage earlier this morning, which got removed on X, by the way, so I'm not going to show you guys on screen. But I saw a video on X where they were showing Ciryl Gane previously in some fights eye poking opponents with the same thing he did to Tom Aspinall. Now and I'm gonna be diplomatic here because I do see both sides of the argument here. Tom Aspinall, Ciryl Gane has that habit of pushing out open-handed. He does that. He pushes his hands out like that, and he lands the hand fingers in the eyes of his opponents. He's eye poked opponents numerous amount of times in the UFC, and I think that is partially to blame of the unconscious habit. And he comes from kickboxing, right? And you will know, anyone that trains kickboxing, everybody knows that you're not really fighting with open fingered gloves in kickboxing. That's closed gloves, right? It's basically boxing gloves, and kickboxers do this where they'll push out the fist, right? They'll push it out, but it's not actually a punch. It's literally just to measure that distance, and in the same time to recoil, to let that kick go. You know what I mean? To let the kick go, and that's exactly what he does. 9 times out of 10, you go watch replay on Ciryl Gane, when he pushes his hands out, not with a punch, it's not a jab or it's not a straight, you will see a kick to follow after that motion. And a lot of kickboxers do it. A lot of kickboxers do this, right? Now imagine you drill that countless amount of times, endless hours, you drilling that in camp the whole time. It's gonna be an unconscious move. You don't intend to do it, but you're gonna do it, right? And unfortunately, Ciryl Gane, it will result in eye pokes because you're not closing your fist. You know what I mean? You're not closing your hand. You are coming up with the open palm, and you're gonna risk fingers going into the eye. You're gonna risk fingers going into the eye, and that's just unfortunate. I don't think it was intentional. I've seen some fighters do stuff like that intentionally. I mean, Daniel Cormier is notoriously known for this. Shout out to the legend. He's a legend, and I'm not trying to put in shade on his name, but DC has got recorded footage of doing this eye poke. Right? John Jones does it as well. His fighters will come there and then they'll literally just do this. They'll just put their hands out like that. And when I used to train Kyokushin, there were sometimes we would learn that in Kyokushin as well, as to when you're up in close quarters and you want to land like a solid, hard fucking calf kick. And sometimes you can blind your opponent, but you don't put fingers into the fucking eyes. You almost like it's like you palm strike them, or it's like a quick palm strike or a jab. It's just to get them to kind of react to that, and then it leaves their bottom half open for you to land something significant on the calf or on the thigh to kind of like debilitate them with a hard low kick, right? And you could do it in street fights as well. It works, but there is going to be that risk that you might just put your fingers in their eye, and that's why I think it's important that that the refereeing is becoming so much more strict about this. I like it. I really do like it, because for far too long we've watched fights get caused for the no contest because of these eye pokes, or fighters get away with it, and we just see, oh, no contest. We don't see any DQs. And I think the more and more referees or officials start becoming like they did over this weekend, where they're so strict on these decisions, like the grabbing of the cage, which I'll get to in this fight, in this fight card, grabbing of the cage, grabbing of the gloves and the shorts and the eye pokes. I think the more strict they become on that, the more likely it's going to mitigate it and it's going to make fighters not do that anymore. Because how many times, for how many years have fighters been told, don't measure with an open palm, keep it, and also keep it. If you keep it with a closed fist, just fucking strike the fighter. You know what I mean? Just strike the bro then, and then you can still land your kick afterwards. I mean, Leon Edwards has got a famous KO from that exact move. High kick punch or straight high kick from the same side. Why do you feel the need to use an open palm when we know how the UFC feels about it? We know how combat sports in general and fan bases feel about open-fingered gestures in a fight. And we hear on broadcast so many times, the referees will say, watch the fingers, watch the fingers, watch the fingers, and fighters still fucking do it. So, two things need to be recognized in this. A lot of the time, it's unintentional because of unconscious patterns or what fighters train. Um, that's one thing. And then another thing, I think we need to accept that these things are going to happen in a fight. Just as much as we see headbutts from open stances, people are going to headbutt. Right? Whether it's intentional or not, it's hard to sort of justify it. I like the questions that we saw in the UFC press conference about, like, at what point do we come and say when it is intentional versus non-intentional? How do you differentiate in a fight whether someone's intentionally or not intentionally eye poking somebody? It's so difficult to kind of see. You don't know if someone's doing it for real. But what we do know is fighters are pushing out open hands, whether they're walking backwards to counter someone, to measure that distance and get away, get an angle, or whether they're going forward and they're doing it again, open hand, forward, throw a straight, or open hand, throw a high kick. Right? What we can say is that there is an intention to open your hand. Whether it goes into the eye or not, we don't know if that's intentional. It's so fucking difficult to do, to actually to justify. It's so difficult to justify. But what it is resulting in is it's resulting in fights not finishing, especially title fights like this. Something needs to happen about it. And I think what they're doing about being strict and like stopping the fights or calling no contests or calling DQs, I think that's going to really make the fighters become a lot more conscious about that open hand thing. You know what I mean? I think it's going to make them a lot more conscious about it. I don't know if getting close-fingered MMA gloves is going to change that, because you're still going to have fingers, even though it's going to be covered. You're still going to have them. You know what I mean? And it's also going to make it difficult for people who are primarily grapplers. So we can't go that way in MMA. It's going to have to stay this way in terms of the gloves. And we're just going to have to, I think the best way to mitigate it at this point is to be extremely strict on these fighters and actually call it out as soon as it happens. Because like I said, we always hear in fights, referee-style fighters watch the fingers and they still don't watch the fingers. So either they should remove the no contest and say DQ. You know what I mean? I would have gone DQ'd, because I think a DQ is more of a punishment than a no contest. A no contest is like nobody wins and the person still gets the title. Fine. But I think if you punish the fighter that's doing it, that's eye poking, even if they unintentionally eye poking, the fact that they're getting punished for it, where you say it's DQ'd, is going to make them go, oh shit, I can't actually keep my hands open anymore. And they're going to have to do something about it. You're going to force their hand, excuse the pun, but you're going to have to force them to keep their fucking fingers closed. Rather throw out a punch than an open hand, because then you can throw out two pieces instead of just going open hand and then risking yourself getting DQ'd. I think a DQ is a more extreme punishment that will force the fighters to eventually listen to the referees when they say watch the fingers. Let me know in the comments, please, chat. I see we got some people in the chat. Let me know in the comments what you guys make of the eye poke. Do you think it's intentional? Do you think it's unintentional? Do you think fighters that land the eye poke should be DQ'd rather than no contests? Should the punishment be bigger so we can actually get away from it? Because I think if we start changing the gloves, we might change the whole sport. I think if we change the gloves, it's gonna benefit certain people. Some people are not going to benefit from it. So let me know what you guys think. A lot of questions, a lot of answers need to be answered around this. I find it very interesting that Dana White was skating around these questions in the press conference. I think, like, as the owner of a company, you need to provide certain answers for this and not sort of skate away, because it's not like the company is losing its integrity You know what I mean? It's not happening. It's not like UFC is looking bad because of these eye pokes. It's not UFC's fault. I think what's looking bad more is the officiating around the sport when it comes to this. Because in my opinion, I think a DQ would be a better thing to do than a no contest in this kind of situations. Because now look at it, Ciryl Gane will go back and go, oh fuck, oh yeah, damn it, I lost my opportunity, no contest, right? Is that going to make him not do the eye poke situation again in his next fight? Is he going to close his fist next time he measures to throw a high kick? Is he still going to go open hand? You know what I mean? But if he got DQ'd, it may play in the back of his mind and go, okay, I can't actually do this again because I'm going to get DQ'd. I think losing on a DQ is more devastating than losing on a no contest. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Give me your thoughts in the comments, please, ladies and gentlemen, while I keep moving. I mean, what happens next for these guys? Rematch. That's the most simplest thing they should do here is rematch. I don't think it should go any other way. The fight didn't even get going yet, so I think a rematch is definitely on the cards. Aspinall looks to be okay after the medical check on the end of the night. I saw some of the videos online. He seems to be okay. I'm pretty sure he'll take the rest of the year to recover and probably get him fighting again as early as maybe January or February, because now it's like they both are going to still be fresh, kind of. No one really got significant damage other than the eye poke to Aspinall. I think they can recover. They can put in another small camp since they've gone through quite a big camp already for this fight. And then we can have them rematch, potentially January or February, or even within the first 3 months of 2026. I'd love to see it. But give me your thoughts, please, on this fight, guys. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear, because I'm sure that you guys may have different opinions to me about this, about the situation. But for now, while you do that, I'm going to move on to the next one in the interview. Alrighty, co-main event. Let me just get some water. Why is water so good? My God. Why is water so good? Okay. Co-main event, we had Virna Jandiroba taking on, or she took on Mackenzie Dern for the second time. And I thought Mackenzie was going to win the fight. She won the first fight. I thought she had slightly better skills that edged to her in terms of the grappling. They're kind of equivalent. And that, for me, that meant that they needed to go to the next step. And what was the next step is like, what's going to be the striking? How are they going to navigate the full rounds? Who's going to mix it up really nicely to actually get the job done? And I'm going to be straight up with you guys, completely honest right now. I actually thought Jandiroba won the fight. I thought she won the fight. But even on the stream, I was like, they're going to give it to Mackenzie. And I can see why the striking was there. But they both actually pieced each other up. Both of them. I know there was a couple of headbutts as well. But I think both women had moments in all of those rounds where on the striking, they both landed stuff. You know what I mean? Neither one dominated the striking, but they both landed. Mackenzie put out some good jabs, some good 1-2s. That really like started making Jandiroba swell up. But vice versa. Kakara also landed on her really good. Some solid stuff, actually. Now, when it's even in the striking department, right? I'm seeing here total amount of strikes. Mackenzie Dern had 249 and Jandiroba had 208, right? That's total amount of strikes thrown. But when you go to significant strikes, you have Mackenzie Dern landing 118 to Kakara's 106. So it's like a slight edge to Mackenzie Dern. But this is where the stats get significant for me in terms of the grappling, right? Which adds a lot of weight to the fight. Is Jandiroba had 9 of 17 takedowns landed to Mackenzie's 2 of 8. Right, so that indicates to you on statistics that Kakara actually had the upper hand when it comes to the grappling, and I actually agree with that statistic because watching the fight, I thought Jandiroba's takedowns were actually playing the deciding factor in the fight because you couldn't divide it when it comes to the striking. You really couldn't. They were very even there, right? But whenever Kakara would do a takedown, she would not whenever, but most times when she did, she would land it. She would actually get Mackenzie down. Now, did she do any significant damage with that? No. Did she attempt a couple of subs? Yes. Right? Did Mackenzie get back up? She got back up. Right? But did Mackenzie, was she successful in getting Kakara down to the ground and landing some of her submissions? No, she didn't. Right? So for that nature, you would think give it to Kakara for the win. In my opinion, she actually edged it in a fight that was quite eventful, actually. I know people were booing in the crowd, but it was very competitive. The woman was scrapping, bro. This woman was scrapping hard, and they were going toe to toe. It was a back and forth contest, very, very, very good back and forth contest. I know people want to see finishes, and we want to see some highlight real shit, and we want to see some dominance. But this fight was actually very competitive, and both ladies put it out there for that title. And I think Kakara did a little bit more, for me. And at the end of the day, Mackenzie won. It's a fight that was narrow. Both women or both camps could make an argument for the win, and I get that, But I don't know. At the end of the day, do I see either of them going on a long, extensive, dominant run in the UFC? I don't know. Hey, I don't know in that division because one of them is. I mean, Mackenzie's gonna have to be the new queen now, right? She won the title. And if I look at that strawweight division, let me just get there quickly. If I look at that strawweight division and I see Yan Chanan and Tatiana Suarez, right? The two of them will be chopping at the bit now for a title fight against Mackenzie Dern. I don't think the UFC is going to make a trilogy fight because Kakara is 0-2 against Mackenzie Dern now, right? So what will happen is Tatiana Suarez beat. Who did she beat? Was it Amanda Lemos in her last fight? Just check that quickly. Yeah, she beat Amanda Lemos, right? So you could argue that Tatiana Suarez is probably going to get Mackenzie Dern next. Honestly, I don't know if Mackenzie Dern beats her. I don't know. But I do think it will be a very close contested fight. But I will tip it slightly. Early prediction if that happen, I do tip it towards Tatiana Suarez ever so slightly. Right? The jiu-jitsu of Mackenzie Dern can be a fantastic counter to the wrestling of Tatiana Suarez. It will be a very good fight. And I think that's going to be the natural progression here. As for Kakara, at 37 years old, I don't know, hey, if she has another title running now. What I do know is that she'll probably still be in around the top 5. And at this point, I think she's probably gonna be able to be competitive with the Shanans, the Lemoshes, who she beat already. But then Lupi Godinez is there. She won her last fight, so she's probably gonna, make an argument to try the top 5 against them. And she'll probably get someone like Lemos next, or she might get a Shanan next, or possibly she'll get Kakara. And that's what I think the next progression will be. But in terms of this fight again, it was so closely contested. You could make an argument for Kakara for the win. At the end of the day, am I excited to see a long dominance from Mackenzie Dern? Right now, as it stands, I can't see it. I can't see her going on a long title reign the way Lee did, or the way Valentina Shevchenko currently is doing it. You know what I mean? But I do believe that we will see. Could be under correction here, but what I do think is going to happen for the strawweight division, we're going to see a lot of changing of the hands of that title until we find someone dominant. Because when I look at the list of women fighters in that strawweight division, right, I really can't see a dominant champion there. If you do, let me know in the comments, please. But I really can't see a dominant champion in the women's strawweight division in the UFC right now. And I don't know if Mackenzie Dern's going to be that athlete. She's very good, fantastic jiu-jitsu, aggressive striking, good stamina. By the way, I was really impressed with her stamina going over 5 rounds. But like when you got Tatiana Suarez in there, and you got Lupi Godinez, I feel like they could really, and even Xiaonan. I think Xiaonan will give Mackenzie Dern some trouble. I just feel like we're going to see the changing of the hands of that title for the next couple of years until we can find someone dominant. Because like Wei Lee was so far above everybody in strawweight. It's like, you know what I mean? Who's going to fight her? Who's going to fight her? So I can understand the progression to go fight against Valentina Shevchenko. That's the next best challenge for her. But for Mackenzie Dern, there's names in there that can beat her. And I think Tatiana Suarez is going to be the next fight. And I think Tatiana Suarez is going to beat her, honestly. But give me your thoughts in the comments, please, chat. Let me know what you guys think. Especially we've got some more people coming in. Let me know what you guys think about the eye poke of Tom Aspinall as well. People are saying that he could have continued, and they don't like how he seemed fine afterwards, and the fight couldn't go any longer. And he also didn't take the full 5 minutes. He only took the 3 minutes instead of the 5 minutes. Give me your thoughts on that one. I see we got a comment here already. Off. Hey, bro. How's it going, my friend? Good to see you in the chat, brother. Hope you're well. Hope the weekend went good. Give me your thoughts, bro. Give me your thoughts on these two fights I just recapped so far with the main event and the co-main event, especially with the main event, right? With the eye poke of Tom Aspinall. There's two things I want to get opinions in the chat about this one, and that is, before the eye poke, was Ciryl Gane piecing up Tom Aspinall? And then after the eye poke, when Tom Aspinall didn't take the full 5 minutes to recover, and then seemed fine a little bit after the medical check, people are saying that he could have continued, and the eye poke was a little bit of a cop-out. Do you think it wasn't cop-out? Or do you think that it was a fair call? Here's my question as well to add to that. Should we continue to do no contests to these eye pokes? Or should we do DQs to the eye pokes to mitigate from the eye pokes? So my point is, like, the harder we punish fighters about this, the more likely we're going to get rid of it. Let me know what you guys think. So we got a comment here. Off says, honestly, actually, Gane was winning. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, there we go. See, a lot of people are actually saying this, right? I think Dana White also said in the press conference that he felt that Ciryl Gane was looking phenomenal. Can you break that down for me? What do you think that justifies that? What's motivating your perception of the fight that Ciryl Gane was winning? I'd love to get people's thoughts on this, because I actually think that Tom Aspinall was edging that first round. You know, when your rhetoric is about damage and octagon control, Ciryl Gane was on the back foot just throwing out jabs. That's all he actually threw in the fight, was a jab. He threw no tips and no body kicks, right? He was just throwing out the jab. And jabs are going to be accurate because they're fast. They come out very quickly and they can be accurate, right? And they can land. But is it a big enough weapon to win fights? You know what I mean? Again, I said, I don't think you were in the chat earlier, but earlier in the stream, I was saying Sean Strickland fought DDP twice and utilized jabs and lost both fights. And that's because DDP landed the more damaging shots, right? He didn't only jab, he used other weapons. Of course, he grappled as well, but this fight didn't go there. But in this fight, I would argue that Tom Aspinall, although he was wearing the damage of a bleeding nose because of all that successful jabs from Ciryl Gane, people forget that the fight was 4 minutes long. 2 minutes of that 4 minutes, Tom Aspinall landed some big shots, right? In the first 2 minutes, Ciryl Gane got backed up. Actually got backed up the whole time. He was getting backed up, and he got rocked earlier in the fight from those shots, right? So for that 4 minutes, if you're only breaking down that 4 minutes, because after there was an eye poke, right? You break down that 4 minutes based on the rubric or rhetoric of judging. Tom Aspinall should actually be getting the points for the damaging shots, the octagon control, the pressure, the navigating, and the dictating of that fight. Now, I'm not taking away from how good Ciryl Gane looked with that jabs, because after the first 2 minutes, Tom Aspinall did slow down. You could see him go, okay, I'm going to slow down and start getting into the fight now. And that's when Ciryl Gane started looking smoother on the back foot with that jab. It's going. It was really going. But I don't know if that's enough. Just because I don't know if you can win fights on jabs. I don't know if that works. What are you saying, bro? He was defending well enough. He was defending well, even some takedowns, and he was cleaner standing. Only thing I remember Tom did well was the calf kicks. They had the calf kicks, but the thing is, again, you know what I mean? If you initiate in the fight, you're initiating the grappling. Yeah, Gane defended it, but you're making the fighter defend at the end of the day. You're making someone going backwards defend your stuff. You can't really score a fight to somebody that's choosing to be on the back foot. Because if you're choosing to be on the back foot, you have to be successful in your counter striking. And again, Ciryl Gane only really landed the jab. You know what I mean? I watched the fight back before starting this live, and He was very good with that jab. It was smooth as butter. It was clean. Tom Aspinall wouldn't be bleeding if the jab wasn't landing. You know what I mean? But that's all he was doing. Tom Aspinall, again, go watch it back. He cracked him. There were two significant hooks that he landed on Gunn, that had Gunn going back and almost on skates. He was like, I want to get out of here. You know what I mean? And I mean, we all watch a lot of fights, and it's just difficult to give score to somebody that's being backed up. You know what I mean? It's just difficult to give that to him. I think what's important here is what I want to really highlight is what what do people do with the eye pokes? So we got another comment here. Yo, what's up, Kid Thomas? How's it going, bruh? Let's read the comment out. Aspinall would have won the fight. Khan had nothing really, which shows he would have won. Whereas Tom had a good two hooks, and then that calf kick landed repeatedly. You see, go off. Not trying to like make you feel like what you're saying is wrong. You know, I just think that if you watch the fight, watch the tape back again, and you will see it's just difficult to really give points to somebody that's only using one weapon and it's on the back foot as well, versus a fighter that's actually navigating the whole fight. Things are happening because of Tom Aspinall. You understand what I'm saying? Ciryl Gane wouldn't be defending the takedown if Tom Aspinall wasn't shooting on him. Ciryl Gane wouldn't be worried about the calf kick if there was no calf kicks landed on him. You know what I mean? He wouldn't be backed up if he wasn't getting tagged. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like it's very difficult to score it for Ciryl Gane. Yes, the jabs were clean, but they were only jabs, and you can't. It's not boxing; it's MMA. The rubric is a lot more. There's a lot more things to mark down on as opposed to like just straight up boxing. Um, honestly, I don't think that Khan would have actually won that fight. I don't think so. I expected him to maybe do a little bit more with the kicks. I really did. I feel like that would be something Tom Aspinall will struggle with. Those front leg tips, the back leg tips, and even the back leg body kicks. If he could go back to that Ciryl Gane making his way to the interim title, if he brought up that type of kickboxing heavy kind of strikes, I think Tom Aspinall will have a little bit of a difficult time dealing with that. I honestly do think he will. So it will get. One thing about Tom Aspinall I noticed in these fights is whenever it does go a little bit longer than fucking 35 to 45 seconds of a fight, you can see him get a little bit annoyed and he gets a bit angsty. And then he wants to actually end the fight. You will watch his dad try to calm him down a lot of the times in those moments. So I think Tom Aspinall, you can get under his skin. You can get a little bit anxious. We've seen him do that before. So there are ways to beat him. I just don't know if Ciryl Gane, if he doesn't bring that out in the fight, if he doesn't irritate Tom Aspinall, I don't know the fight goes any other way. Honestly, I really don't know. But what I really want to get your guys' perspective on is the eye poke more particularly. Um, is the do you think that it will be benefit to the brand or the sport if fighters are harsher punished for the eye pokes? Because personally, I think throwing a no contest allows people to get away with it. If that makes sense. Let me explain. Losing on a no contest, right, sucks ass. You're like, fuck it. You don't want to lose. You just don't want to lose on that. Like, you don't want to lose on that. You're like, oh no, this is the worst. But then if you lose on a DQ, then it's like it's your fault. You understand what I'm saying? You got disqualified. It's your fault that this happened. So it's like it's more like holding fighters accountable because the fighters get told numerous amount of times in the ring or in the cage, excuse me, watch the fingers, watch the fingers. You don't extend your fingers, watch the fingers, and then they still fucking do it. They still do it anyway, right? Now I think if you disqualify them, you say, I'm DQing you now for that bullshit. Never mind just deducting the point. If I disqualify you, if you give them a yellow card, and I think the yellow card is actually, there's also a deduction of your purse on that yellow card. So I stand on the correction there. I know it's like that for one championship. But if you get the yellow card as well, it's like now you're making the fighters really aware. You can't actually fucking do that. Because you're ruining the sport. You know what I'm saying? So give me your guys' thoughts on that, please. I really want to know what you think about if fighters should be DQ'd rather than no contest or fouls, because they always say unintentional. So at what point do we talk about it being intentional if it's happening so much? You're telling me a fighter is unconsciously putting their fingers out every time? Something to think about. What have we got here, Thomas? Patient fighters win Aspinall, hence why DC is his worst fighter. DC is Aspinall's worst fighter. What do you mean by that? Kid Thomas. Off says, so if the fight happened between Jones and Tom, who you think now would win? Um, Tough to say. It's tough to say. Even if I see Kid Thomas is saying young Jones, a younger Jones beats Aspinall, but current Aspinall beats Jones. I still don't know about that. All year I was saying I think Tom Aspinall smokes him. Tom Aspinall smokes him, but I think I was caught up in the hype of Tom Aspinall and like how he's touching everybody so easily. Um, One thing I really think about John Jones is if PEDs or no PEDs, skill for skill, I don't think anyone beats this dude. I'm gonna say it now. John Jones is probably got the highest IQ I've ever seen when it comes to MMA, hands down. Like probably the highest IQ, and I think he can be. I think he's a nightmare matchup for Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall can fight. He's a big heavyweight. He moves really well. He's fast. He's got a lot of power. But there is something that I've seen him. The chink in the armor that I see in Tom Aspinall is he's hasty, and he's got this thing of he red lines too quickly. He red lines too quickly, and if he doesn't get if he doesn't get his way, there's this impatience, this anxiousness in the way he fights. If he doesn't get it the way he wants it, and then he starts to slow down quite significantly. And I think John Jones has got such a massive repertoire of MMA that I think he can pull out some sort of tricks that can really get under the skin of Tom Aspinall. Really get under the skin of him. Difficult to say. Difficult to say, but I think deep down, if I'm being completely honest to myself, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if John Jones still got the stuff at 39 years old. I don't know. I really don't get. I don't think he's got the stuff anymore. If they had fought even 2 years ago, 2024 maybe, I think Jones would beat him. I think Jones would beat Aspinall. But I think from now going forward, I just don't see it. I think John Jones is not the same kind of fighter he was in the past. Yeah, so I'm gonna go Tom Aspinall. To be quite honest, he's fresher, he's younger, he's more violent, he's deadly, extremely strong. Um, but I just worry about that anxiousness because there's far too many fights um, where we've seen Tom Aspinall's dad in his corner do a lot to make Tom Aspinall like relax and calm the fuck down. Because he doesn't. He goes red line too quickly. That's why those fights end so quickly. He's redlining immediately. You know what I mean? You saw in this fight with Ciryl Gane, the round started and he got aggressive immediately and he just put it on Ciryl Gane, but he couldn't get him out of there. He couldn't get the finish. And then when we passed the 2 minute mark of that first round, what happened? You see Tom Aspinall slow down, and then Ciryl Gane got comfortable and let that jabs go. He let that jabs go. You know what I mean? And that for me is a worrying sign for Tom Aspinall. Hey, Thomas, what are you saying here? Aspinall said DC is his worst matchup. I think it's due to DC being a grinder and he will take you into deep waters. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Because also Tom Aspinall again, he doesn't have patience in his fight style. He doesn't. A lot of his camp they speak about having to really calm Aspinall down in a fight because his heart rate just spikes, bro, and he goes hella intense. And I think a fighter like DC, which is also like John Jones, they would put it on you, bro. They'll make the fight very uncomfortable. They won't just stand outside and box you the whole time and make you feel comfortable there. They'll put you in positions where you don't want to be. You know what I mean? And I think pound for pound, skill for skill, I think John Jones is a much better fighter than Tom Aspinall. Ideally, he's got so much more in his bag of tools to fuck you up than Tom Aspinall does. You know what I mean? But that's also again young Jones. What have you got here, Kid Thomas? Nah, John these days is the same as Aspinall. He wants to get the fighter over, whereas young John doesn't force a finish. He just pieces you up. Yeah, young John Jones, you'd always prove a point, man, when he gets in there with you, where it's like, oh, you think you're good at wrestling? I'm gonna out wrestle you. Oh, you're good at striking? Watch me knock you out. Oh, you think you can go 5 rounds? Watch how I out gas you for 5 rounds. You know what I mean? And even when he was put into the deepest waters, he would still come out of it as a legend that he is, And again, skill for skill. The only other fighter I ever saw in my life that actually matched John Jones skill for skill was fucking Mighty Mouse, and not even the same weight class. And Mighty Mouse was also beating up people, doing things that's unimaginable in the fucking octagon. You know what I mean? High level stuff, high level stuff. But yeah, like I said, the fight needs to be rematched so we can get a definitive answer here. Because again, there's a divided opinion. A lot of the fan bases seem to go that Ciryl Gane was winning the fight, and people go no, Aspinall was winning the fight. So the only way to decide that is to make them fight again. There we go. In terms of Mackenzie Dern, Jandiroba, I spoke about this one. I don't think they're going to fight each other again. I think Mackenzie Dern's probably going to get Tatiana Suarez next. That's going to be the natural progression of her fight. But okay. Now, boys, I've got another fight card to get through as well. So we're going to keep it moving to the next fight. Right, we saw in the bantamweight division, Umar Nurmagomedov, he took on Mario Bautista, and I'm actually quite not surprised. I'm actually, how do I phrase this? I'm not happy about it, but I'm also kind of happy even though Umar Nurmagomedov won, the fan bases are kind of turning on him. If you think about it, because I think what was exposed over the weekend is what I've been saying for a long time about the Magomedov wrestlers, is that they fight coward kind of fights. And I say coward, I mean it, every meaning of the fucking word coward. Saying that you'll watch them fight, right? And you will see that what they will do is they will go tooth and fucking nail, hell or high water. They will do whatever it takes to get the takedown and stay there. Right? And this is what bothers me more about it is okay, you got the takedown and you can do it so easily. Now finish the fight. Hurt the bra. Beat him up. Don't just hold him and lay there and hold him for dear life because you're so fucking scared if they get up here, this guy's gonna piece me up again. You know what I'm saying? And I saw this early Khabib days. I've been watching MMA, I've been part of the sport for a very long time now. A very, very long time. I've been analyzing it for a very long time. And I've watched these Russian-based fighters or these, I don't want to keep using the word Russian-based, but like that style of wrestling fighters fight in MMA, and then they suck at striking. They get pieced up, and then they just run for takedowns and stay there. Now, I know it sounds like I'm being salty. It's just the way people have been salty about Arsenal's corners and set pieces. But the truth I'm trying to say here is that Umar Nurmagomedov is a fucking good fighter. This dude can strike really well. He's got high-level grappling, right? But the one thing that pisses me off, and this is why I really think Islam Makhachev is highest tier, is because he's a finisher. He's a finisher, right? He knows he's very good at grappling. He knows he can take you down. And then he does it. And then he does something with that. He will take you down and then he will finish you. Whether he's striking you or he taps you out, he takes you down and he finishes you with it. He doesn't take you down and holds you there, right? And he also knows that when it comes into the standard department, it may be a little bit even here, right? But he doesn't scale away when he gets pieced up and goes, oh, and then starts running through the octagon to get some kind of takedown. That's all he's going to do the whole time. He's very methodical about it as well, right? In this fight, I thought Mario Bautista, even though he lost the fight, he did lose the fight. But again, just like Marab, they exposed the game of these Khabib camp wrestlers. They exposed the game. Because one thing what they don't do, other than Islam Makhachev, is they don't submit you. They don't have the jiu-jitsu. They really don't have it. I don't see it in the same way. For example, when we watch, who's a good example? Look at the New Zealand, Australian-based fighters that train with the Craig Jones camps, right? Your Jack Jenkins, this guy that just fought in the One Championship now, Valdez, right? And even fucking Jack Della Maddalena. One thing what I noticed is they don't mind be taken down by these Russian-based wrestlers, right? But what they do really well and why they're able to get away from it, which I find quite impressive, is that they got high-level jiu-jitsu. high fucking level. What's the name? Even Volkanovski, when he fought Islam Makhachev the first time, right? That fight was mad. And I think what was really mad about that fight was Islam couldn't get his way on the ground. He couldn't. It wasn't an easy fight for him when they got to the grappling exchanges. And I wonder why. When you think about I don't want to use the word target because it sounds like such a controversial thing to say. It sounds like I'm being very not racist, but attacking a ethnic group. I'm not trying to attack an ethnic group here, but when you watch that style of wrestling, right, in the UFC, who were the fighters that were able to actually deal with it and get away with it, get away from it? Uh, of recent years, it's the Australian-based fighters. It really is the Australian-based fighters. And what they do is when they get taken down, they don't stay there and nullify positions the way DDP did with Khamzat Chimaev, so we don't actually go anywhere and we stifle this, right? What they do is they never let the hips stay in positions where they can be controlled by the other fighter. So they're always sitting in submissions. They're always sitting in ways to hurt them, get the hips away. They're never laying in one position. Mario Batista did it, and what's name Marab when he fought Umar Magomedov. They didn't allow Umar to really like wrestle and stay there and like dominate. Cody Shannon is another example. They threaten you when you try to put them down with something. They grab a wrist, 2-on-1 and grab the wrist and they look for Kimura's. They look for something to make you uncomfortable so you can't really get full control of the hip of your opponent. And more importantly, they threaten with submissions a lot. Mario Batista threatened with Kimura in this fight a few times to get Umar away from him, break the wrist controls, or to break the locks. Even when he had body locks, he broke up the legs by using his hips, by scooting left to right the whole time. The whole time. Eventually, it's gonna get loose. You're gonna get loose from it. So, and another thing also, this was a 3-round fight, not a 5-round fight. And Umar Nurmagomedov got tired after the first round already. You know what I mean? He won the fight because of the relentless takedowns and for trying to get there all the time. In the boxing, he was getting pieced up. Mario Batista is strong. He's tanked. And I think people need to actually start recognize him as a top tier fighter because coming into the fight, people was like, nah, he's not going to get a chance. I personally felt that he was strong. I felt that Batista went on a good streak. I think a very intelligent fighter. He's powerful. I think in this fight, he got a bit too caught up in trying to smash and knock out Umar Nurmagomedov because he dropped him in the first round. And I felt that he was getting a bit. Was the second round? I think it was the first round. Second round. Oh. Yeah, it was the second round. Tagged him nicely with it. And I think he just got a little bit too aggressive with trying to get that knockout blow, which led to Umar Nurmagomedov timing those takedowns. But even though he didn't land any of them, he was shooting the whole time and it forced Batista to defend it and get away from it, right? So yeah, he won the fight, but it was a very underwhelming performance from him anyway. And yeah, I don't rate this camp, bruh. I really don't rate him. I think what's happening is MMA is progressing to the point where people are catching up to this. They're catching up to the style. And I think Volkanovski against Islam Makhachev exposed it the first time. JDM against Bilal Muhammad also exposed it. And now in this fight again, when Marab fought against Umar Nurmagomedov, he exposed it there. Cody Sandhagen exposed it against Umar Nurmagomedov the first time. And now Mario Batista again went at it. And the way to go at them is to not be afraid of being taken down. Get taken down by them because they don't really have a high level of submission rate or threat as much as like pure jiu-jitsu athletes, right? In comparison, if you watch a lot of the combat sambo fighters, they don't really look for submissions. It's a lot of strike, take down, boom. Hold in there, get back up, strike, take him down again. And then just control your opponent. If you got controlling of your opponent, you're dominating them. They're not going to hurt you, right? Which is true. Which is 100% true. But I think it's not going to be, I feel like, just like people saying about Arsenal set pieces, it's not sustainable. I think that's not sustainable. Eventually, the game is going to get caught up to you. Imagine if Khamzat fights the way he fought against Drikkers all the time, against everybody. They're going to catch up to it. They're going to find a way around it, and they're going to beat him up for it. You know what I mean? And that's what we're seeing with the Umar Nurmagomedov. Is that people are starting to become wise. And he's a back foot fighter. He's a back foot kind of fighter. He doesn't go forward. He fights on the back foot. Sharp counters, front kicks, high kicks, straight lifts, takedown. Straight lifts, takedown. Dart forward, right hook, takedown. That's what he does when he goes forward. but he doesn't go forward and then pieces you up and then stays there and then stay on his feet and if I'm gonna go forward, I'm gonna hit you with something, but it's just to deter you and then get the takedown. But primarily, he's a back foot kind of fighter, and I think what's happening, what I'm noticing, is that this Dagestani wrestling is slowly but surely starting to be counted. It's starting to be counted, and we're gonna see it. Just watch. I don't think we're gonna have a long reign anymore of the Dagestani wrestlers. I think people are catching up to that style. But okay, boys, I'm gonna keep it moving to the next fight. Give me your thoughts on that one. In terms of who's fighting who next, um, I think Umar Nurmagomedov can probably get. See, he already beat Cody Sandhagen. You could argue that he could fight against Sugar Sean, or you could get Davison Figueiredo. I think Piotr Jan is probably going to get Marab next. And then I think Cody Sandhagen versus Sugar Sean O'Malley will probably be the fight that they're going to put together because fans want that. If we don't get that and Sugar Sean gets dynamite privilege again, he's probably going to get Song Yadong in his next fight. And they'll give Cody Sandhagen Song Yadong again. So, or Ayman Zahabi. I know he's calling out for Sugar Sean as well. He's probably going to enter the pocket there. But yeah, that's what I think is going to happen next. For Mario Batista, he might even get Ayman Zahabi next or Song Yadong. But let's see what the UFC does there. Give me your thoughts in the comments, please, chat. I'm going to keep it moving. We saw a heavyweight bout, top of the table bout. We saw Alexander Volkov. He beat Jailton Almeida. Not much you can say in this fight. The fight spent most of the time on the ground. Whenever they were standing, Volkov was the one that was landing all the strikes. Whenever they went to the ground, again, Volkov was the one that was landing the strikes on the ground. Even though he was at the bottom and he got taken down 7 times in this fight. He got taken down, but he was proactive when he was at the bottom guard. He was able to land strikes. And I think the world was happy to see this victory because it was for the first time in the UFC in a long time, the judges actually got it right when it comes to this style of fight. You know, we saw recently early in the year a fight that took place in the middleweight division. I can't remember what the name was, but it was a debut fighter against Rob Valentin. And this fighter took him down and kept him there, but didn't do anything with it. And Valentin kept on tagging him with elbows from the bottom, and then he still lost the fight. In this fight, it was the exact same thing that happened. Shelton Almeida got the takedowns, but didn't progress to the next position. Didn't land any takedown submissions. Didn't land any punches from top control. So what happens is like, okay, you got the takedown, but what? You're not doing anything. So the same thing with fucking Umar Nurmagomedov, the fucker, taking people down, but you're doing fuck all with it. You're just holding on for dear life, so you don't take any more damage from the fighter. Same thing here. Shelton Almeida was getting pieced up on the stand up when he went to the ground. Didn't do anything. He was getting pieced up there as well. And I think Volkov deserved the win. Underwhelming performance on both guys, but that's not Volkov's fault. That's the kind of fight that Almeida does. That's how he fights. He's not going to try and knock you out. He's going to try and take you down and submit you. And if he can't get that, he's just going to hold you there. I think the rules are changing. The rules are fucking changing. And that's why, again, going back to my point before this, the Dagestani wrestlers are not going to get away with it anymore. They're not. They're going to have to go into the next thing. You're going to have to go to submissions or have to look for TKOs or ground and pounds. You can't just take down and lay there and hold someone. You can't. You have to progress. And I feel like also something that needs to be added to the rules in MMA with the referees. If fighters get taken down and you don't pass to the next position within a minute, you're standing them up. You stand those fighters up. It's gonna bring more fight fans. It's gonna keep people wanting to be locked into the fights because also fighters can do that. They can stifle positions to just to recover. And you're stalling out the round. And I'm winning the round here. And I think that needs to be questioned. It really needs to be questioned because sometimes fighters are very good at grappling, right? And they can take you down easily the whole time. But then you want to see them do something with it. But if you're not going to do anything with it, then what's the point of taking him down the whole time? How am I going to score you in more points than that if you're just going to keep doing that? And just go do wrestling. Go do pure wrestling then. Where it does mean a lot to just take somebody down. But in MMA, you at some point we have to revisit that rule where if someone gets taken down and they don't pass the positions, right, for more than a minute, stand them up. stand them up. Because I know 5 minutes is a long time. It's a long time in a fight. But at the same time, it also isn't. You know what I mean? It's a long time if you're striking for 5 minutes. You're like, yo, that 5 rounds, that 5 minutes just flew by, right? But a lot had happened. Then you get someone grappling someone and holding them down on the ground the whole time, but nothing happens. It feels like an eternity, like the round is not going anywhere, right? But then you also notice that as quickly as this 2 minutes is gone, and you were just laying there for 2 minutes, nothing happened for 2 minutes. You know what I mean? So I just think that the rule needs to be revisited. Where I personally feel like rounds are being stifled, blocks are being time has been stolen, and there's no progression in a fight. And the fighter that's doing that needs to be questioned about that. You need to call that kind of stuff out, in my opinion. And I think if you stand people up after a minute, it kind of lights a fire under their ass to actually move and let the fight go and do the next thing, right? Pass. And if you can't pass, and you're gonna be stuck there the whole time, because fighters at the bottom will do that. They will be like, I'm just gonna hold you here and wait for the referee to stand us up so I can get back to my feet and I can beat you up. You know what I mean? I know some fighters also must have the initiative to get back up to their feet. But if you can't, and the other fighter also can't progress, then there's a stalemate. Stand them up, reset the fight. But give me your thoughts on that one. But yeah, good up for Volkov. I don't think he gets the next title shot. I think he could fight someone else. Let's look at that division. He could maybe get such a cuck division, eh? Sorry, excuse my language. It's such a very bad division right now. I'm at this point where I'm like, you know what? Take Mario Pinto, put him up against Curtis Blades. Take Walter Walker, let him bypass this top 10. Let him take on Sergey Pavlovich, or even a Jelton Almeida, or even a Walter Acosta, Cortez Acosta. You know, we need more fighters like that. That's vibrant. When I look at the top 5 now, I look at Sergey Pavlovich. It's like he's not the same guy he used to be. Sergey Spivak, he's number 7, lots of losses. Derek Lewis down is like there's no one really there you want to go on about. So yeah, I think Walter Walker is a new guy. He's on a good win streak, losses of missions. I think he could be a bit of a fun character to provide. And I think Mario Pinto as well is a good fighter that we could also bring up into the rankings to sort of change up that top 5 a little bit. Because otherwise, we're gonna have lots of rematches we don't want to see. Let's keep it moving. We're on an hour now, so I'm gonna actually just bypass some of these stuff and go through to the One Friday Fights card. But let's just keep it moving. All right, light heavyweight division. Alexander Rakic lost to Azamat Murzakanov. First round KO. That's what I said was gonna happen. I know I said Rakic is strong and he's powerful, and I was like on live stream, I was like, yeah, Rakic can still win this fight. But I remember on the preview, I was like, Azamat is a sharp striker, guys. He is a sharp striker. Backwards and forwards, he's accurate. He's super accurate. And I think the style of Rakic will play into his hands because Rakic is very forward momentum, pressure, wants to just go in there and hit you as hard as he can, right? But he also abandons that defense. I've seen him do it a lot of times. And in this fight, that's what we got. He went in there, he got aggressive, he went in very hard, and he got caught. He got caught pretty badly. And I think that's exactly how it was going to play out. I should have actually just bet all the money on this fight only, because I think it was a very clear cut fight. But because it was a pick and fight, you weren't really going to make a lot of money back. But Azamat, well done, 16-0, taken out of formerly top 5 contender, well deserved. And I think he's going to be a good fighter to add to that upper echelon, right? If you look at that heavyweight division, pardon me, Dominic Reyes just got KO'd by Carlos Ulberg, right? Rakic just got KO'd by Azamat. Khalil Roundtree, who knocked him out in his last fight? Giri Prohaska. Jan Blachowicz is fighting somebody. Who's he fighting? Is he fighting Jamal Hill? Oh, he's fighting Bogdan Guskov, who I think is going to be another addition to that top 5 situation. But I think Azamat for sure is a conversation Murzakanov is definitely a conversation for that. He could be getting the Dominic Reyes next. He could possibly get Jamal Hill. I think that's going to be the next fight for him. But for Alexander Rakic, you go down the ladder, my friend. Down the ladder. I think his next fight will be Johnny Walker. Yeah, that will be his next fight. Is Johnny Walker. But okay, chat. I'm gonna keep it moving. Nasrat Akbaras got knocked the fuck out by Quillen Solkild. Massive head KO. Nasrat was taking a long time to get up. He did get up eventually, so well done to that. But fuck it, KO of the night. KO of the night. Ikram Aliskerov fought against Ju Young Park. Very uneventful, very underwhelming win for Ikram. I was unimpressed by what he did. I thought he was going to go in there and starch him, but he didn't. And Ju Young Park could have actually taken him out. He was tired and he was there for the taking, but Park didn't know how to finish it. He went into grappling exchanges where I think he shouldn't have. Yeah, in terms of clinching, he should have stayed on the distance. When they got into the rope, the corner, he went into a 1-2, into a clinch, and I felt like he shouldn't have done that. You should have, once you had him up against the cage, get some distance and start piecing him up from over there. He might even shoot on you, or you might even try and cut an angle. But if you go in clinch him, you're giving him an opportunity to survive the fight, which I thought was dumb from Ju Young Park. But anyway, underwhelming from Ali Skedov. What's up, AD? We got AD in the chat. What's up, bro? Hope you're good, my friend. Let's fucking go. Rakic is done. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if we can see any more from him going here, bro. I think Rakic is too much on a losing streak. I think all the guys that's above him in the rankings will beat him anyway. That's why I say his next fight is probably going to be Johnny Walker. So there has to be Walker's on his way up and Rakic is on his way down. So they're going to have to meet at some point. And I think that's the next fight they're going to make. Ludovic Klein, he beat Mateusz Rebecki. Crazy fucking fight. How the hell did Rebecki not go down? I don't understand, because he was getting tagged. I think he got one knockdown, but he was getting tagged every single time he came in. Ludovic Klein was clean with his strikes. Fantastic. But Rebecki is a dog, my bro. And this guy just stuck it out, went in there and made it a good fight. And yeah, I think Fight of the Night is actually deserving because it was a 3-round war. It was a 3-round war. And I would say that because I was entertained by every single round. You can even see it was majority decision. So people were even giving Rebecki some of the rounds. Actually, one of the rounds they were giving him was the third round. But the sheer fact that he was winning the third round after being badly beaten up for 2 rounds says a lot. Beautiful fight to watch. Beautiful fight to watch. Walter Walker snatching another heel, getting another heel hook. This is why I say let this guy crack the top 5. The heavyweight division at the moment needs a character like Walter Walker. We need someone like that. Or Alex Pereira, Carlos Ulberg, January. Pereira fucks him up. Pereira goes to heavyweight. We need to have more fun. You know, people mustn't, when we talk about heavyweight division, people mustn't go, heavyweight division. Heavy guys. You know what I mean? You don't want to see that. You want to go, heavyweight, you want to go, fuck, this is a heavyweight fight. When we had the Nogueira brothers, you know, when we had Fabricio Verdum, when we had Cain Velasquez, and back in the day, even though the titles were changing hands the whole time, there were mad fights. I mean, Brock Lesnar, Frank Mir, Randy Couture. You looked at it and you were like, yo, all these fights, you were hyped to watch them fight. Now, when you think about the heavyweight division, you almost don't want to watch it. You're like, nah, I'd rather skip that because it fucking sucks. You know what I mean? And that's not Tom Aspinall's fault. What have we got here, Adrian? Walter versus Johnny Walker. Brothers versus brothers. I don't know, eh? They're not in Vanderlei Silva. He wasn't in the heavyweight division back in the UFC. I think he only fought light heavyweight and middleweight. But like heavyweight division is what I'm referring to. And Johnny Walker only fights light heavyweight, not heavyweight. The axe murderer. But you see what I mean? This is to my point. You can highlight characters that you would tune into. You want to watch these guys fight. You want to watch these guys fight. You know, you want to tune into it. Look at the heavyweight division right now, right? Bar Aspinall. Who do you want to watch? Who do you want to watch? Who do you guys want to watch? You know what I mean? I would love to watch Walter Walker fight every week. Honestly, I'd love to watch him fight every week. He's fun. He's a fun guy to watch. He makes the fights exciting. But a lot of the other guys in the division are just not there anymore. They just don't do it for me. But anyway, we keep it moving, guys. We keep it moving. Um, Nathaniel Wood beat Jose Miguel Delgado. I think this was a bit of an unfair call. I think Miguel Delgado won the fight. Both guys got knocked down in the first round. Absolute brawl in that first round. But Delgado won the second round, in my opinion. And I think the third round, Nathaniel Wood did a good job at utilizing grappling and, taking the fight into different avenues. But I think in terms of the overall theme of the fight, I think Delgado did a little bit more in terms of outlanding Nathaniel Wood, landing the damaging shots, backing him up, forcing him to do something about it, which is why he was using the takedowns. But yeah, I think that was a bit of a robbery on the card. Agent says missed the opening, but how do you think the fight would have played out if there wasn't an eye poke? Away. So yeah, thanks for the question, AD. I will cover it again, and I'm gonna move on to the one championship card. But yeah, basically, like I said earlier in the stream, I know you weren't early in the stream, but like I said earlier, I think the fight, I think it would have still gone to Tom Aspinall, but I don't think it would be cut and dry as what people thought it was. Like he was gonna go in there and just knock him out. I think he still would have won the fight, but it would have been a very tricky fight for him. People were saying that Ciryl Gane was actually winning the fight before the eye poke. It was a nasty eye poke, by the way. But they say he was winning the fight, and I'm not so sure he was, because I watched it back again before doing this live stream, and I still feel the way I felt when I watched it live. Ciryl Gane was doing good after the 2-minute mark. The fight was only recorded for 4 minutes and 30 odd seconds. Let me just remind myself again. The fight was only recorded for 4 minutes and 35 seconds. There we go. Right? So that's like 90% of the round. Now, the first 2 minutes or so, it's just over 2 minutes, Tom Aspinall was cracking him, right? Cracked him with a lot of hooks. Whenever they entered the pocket, cracked him with a lot of hooks, right? It actually forced Ciryl Gane to stay up, to stay on the outside. It actually rocked him and forced him to stay on the outside. He didn't want to enter the way he actually entered the first couple of moments, right? And Tom Aspinall was cracking him every time. There was calf kicks as well. That was piecing up. Ciryl Gane with the lower kicks. But then Tom Aspinall wasn't able to actually get him out with those hooks, right? And you could see that Tom Aspinall started to slow down, not because he was getting tired, but he was settling, and he just started parking himself in the middle of the ring or octagon. He wasn't actually just pushing the pace like he was in the first 2 minutes. He was actually just parking himself there and waiting for Gane to come at him to counter him with some heavy shots again, which is what he was doing. But I will add this: Ciryl Gane, halfway through that first round, started getting results with that jab. He was getting cleaner with it, and it was landing on Aspinall the whole time, which is why Aspinall's nose was a little bit busted open. And I don't know why people are saying that that's what made him look like he was winning the fight. He was cleaner. I think people mustn't be fooled because one guy's bleeding doesn't mean that guy's losing the fight, or he's not in there, or he's under the gun. Because Aspinall still landed more, and he still landed heavier shots more. You know what I mean? And he still dictated the pace. Shot 2 takedowns, which were defended, but he's initiating that round. So I think he won the round, and I think he was doing a little bit more to win the fight. I just wonder if he would still go on to knock out Gane the way people thought he was. I wonder if he would have gotten there. I don't know about that so much, but I did think that he was still going to win the fight from where he was standing. I think he did a good job at not chasing him anymore, because that's what he was doing. He was just starting to chase him, and he just parked himself in the middle and he's like, all right, I'm just going to stand here now, and you're going to have to come to me. I think that was a very smart thing to do that, because it was Ciryl Gane needed to force it, and when he was coming in, Aspinall will just go and land like a 2-3 piece, backing him up again. So yeah, I think the fight had gone on. I think Aspinall still would have won the fight. I don't know if it would have been by a finish anymore. I think it would have won on decision. But yeah, let's see it, bro. There has to be a rematch now. It can't go any other way. there has to be a rematch. But yeah, give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts, bro. While I keep it moving to our next fight card to recap. Let's go. I'm gonna close this and bring up one championship. Let's talk about one championship, one Friday fights, 130. Spent a lot of time on the UFC now, more time than I should have. So let's keep moving. We had one. Oh, we got some comments. We got some comments. We got some comments in the chat. Let's go. Okay, he's just saying thanks. Thanks, Brev. I'd like a Fanta Light, Brev. Okay, let's talk about some one championship fights, guys. First and foremost, I wanted to say RIP to the Thailand Queen. Found out thanks to our guy TSP V27 that the Thai Queen has passed away over the weekend. Last weekend, the weekend it just passed, sorry. And that may or may not impact some of the some of the fights that is hosted in Thailand with regards to not only one championship, but all the other brands as well, with promotions in Thailand. So hopefully we can get some information about that as the week goes on. But as it stands, I think one Friday fights 131 is still going to happen. Right. One Friday fights 130 took place on Friday, and we saw some really, really good fights. Amazing fights, bro. It says shout out to the bookie beatdown Discord. Let's go, TSBB 27 and his Discord. Check it out, guys. They've got some really good insight on their Discord server, especially when it comes to picking some fights and we put some parlays together. These guys have really good chats, so get involved in their Discord server. I will see if I can put the link in the chat for that as well. But yeah, those fights were really amazing on this card. Lots of finishes, and even the fights that were going to decision were super entertaining. So let's talk about it. In the main event, we had Nontachai. He took on Soner Sen, the Golden Boy, in the bantamweight division, and very, very, very eventful and back and forth fight between the two guys. I think Nontachai fought a very good style, which was like keeping Soner Sen on the back foot. Soner Sen looked really good with his counters as usual. Good footwork, good uppercut counters, and was tagging Nontachai with it, but never really put in enough power in those shots to actually hurt Nontachai and like drop him or make him go backwards. In fact, I don't think there was a moment in that fight where Nontachai actually went backwards. I think he was going forward the whole time, and I think it's actually a very good game plan from his camp to recognize that. Because if you look at Soner Sen's losses in the in one championship, it's when he's getting backed up. It's when he's getting backed up, or if they're clinching him, and that's what Nontachai did to him. He put him in clinching positions as well and need him in the clinch and just put it on him. And then there was a moment where Soner Sen, I think it was in round 2, where he got super aggressive, kind of obviously now win back the momentum. And as he was getting aggressive and going forward, Nontachai tagged him with a nice left straight, boom, and dropped him, got a knockdown. And at that point, it was like, okay, well now you knocked down. You know what this means. 10-8 to Nontachai. And then when they went over to the third round, it was again competitive back and forth. I think Soner Sen started getting back into the fight again, and then ultimately losing the fight on majority decision. Fair result. Because it was competitive. You could make an argument that Soner Sen won the first round, possibly won the third round. I think I saw it in the eyes of the judges as well. But the knockdown in the second round was really tipped it over for Nontachai, and that's why they made it a majority decision. Because Soner Sen was landing a lot of strikes. He has high volume as always. But again, when the power comes back his way, it's like, he loses. He gets tagged a lot for those things, and he kind of cracks there. But yeah, big job. It was a difficult fight for both guys. Hard to predict. I went to Soner Sen. I thought that the footwork and the strikes of volume was going to get him. I did say, if he doesn't get knocked down, he wins the fight. And then he got knocked down, and I was like, well, now Hatis, I think that's the end of the day. Because that's the kind of fight that he is. A fighter that he is that he's always going to out-volume you. He's always going to have better footwork than you. So which means it's going to force you have to knock him down. You have to go in there and knock him down. Otherwise, he's going to beat you on decision every single time. Right? Nontachai did exactly that. And there's also was a lot at stake for both guys. More for Soner Sen though, because he's not contracted. Nontachai is contracted. And Soner Sen, he knew if he had to win this fight, especially in a good fashion, he would have gotten the contract. He would have. If he had maybe knocked out Nontachai, he would have definitely gotten the contract. But now that he lost the fight, and now he's got, I think, 12 fights in one championship with only 50% win rate. It's like, also at 29 years old, I do think that his chances of getting the contract is slowly but surely, I say but surely, but it's slowly slipping away. You know what I mean? I think if he had gotten the win here and maybe and maybe getting like a good finish, he would have gotten that contract. But now he's gonna have to go on a streak again to sort of get that contract. You know what I mean? But yeah, unlucky. Nontachai, big win. I just wanna get these I don't know why I didn't do this earlier. I want to get the rankings up. But for Nontachai, you know what it means for him. It's a division that's filled with fighters that are incredibly intense, stacked bantamweight division. Archive was the last guy to beat him, and I'm sure you would love to get the run back with him. Let me just see bantamweight Muay Thai rankings. Yeah, I think that's not the updated ones. But anyway, Archive is still there. What's his name just entered? Otikov is also in that one. So I think we'll probably get Nontachai fighting someone like maybe Param Garati, probably a Malatesta, something like that. Who just beat Malatesta now recently? Strange fight. Or PTT, but I don't think they'll give him PTT. So maybe you'll get the Felipe Lobo because he's contacted. So he needs to fight contacted guys. He needs to fight in the top 10, in my opinion. So I'd love to see him throw down with someone like that. Maybe even get the run back with Dayakai would be mad, actually. It'd be a mad fight to watch. But anyway, that's my take of that main event. Really enjoyed it. But for now, I'll keep it moving. I'll see if we get another one. Eddie says Dayakaev smokes Nontachai, in my opinion. Yeah, especially the way the first fight went, right? It was a first round KO, left hook, left check hook, check, left hook. So I can understand that. Dayakaev, future champ. I don't know, eh? It's a big call to make. It's a big call to make. Because you also got Kiaman Nabati in that division. You've got Nabila Nan, that's the champion. Superlex still exists in the division. Rauten can still make the weight if he wants to. I don't think he will. I think he wants to avoid the bantamweight division. You've got Rambolek that's fighting Dayakaev next week. You know what I mean? That's a big one. If he loses there, and then what? You know what I mean? That's a big one there. And not to forget 80. We still got a left meteorite, Kulab Dam, in the bantamweight division. Let's just not forget that. You know what I mean? What are you saying, Nabati juiced? Yeah. Got you. And I don't think they're gonna fight each other either. What are you saying here? Archive will only fight for the belt if Nabil goes up. Yeah, I know they're homies. They fight in the same camp, and I know the buzz there. I know the buzz. They come from the same gym. The Mehdi fighters, as you know, the Mehdi fighters. When Nabil goes up, you say. Yeah, so that's probably, and they're also very close in age. I think Nabil's slightly younger, but they're very close in age, and I think that's probably what's going to happen there. According to Mehdi, yeah, they won't let them fight the same camp. They're in the same camp. And if you look at that division, when you have Dayakaev, you have Otikov, you have Nabil, yes, and you have Nabati. That's 4 guys that's in the top 10 of the bantamweight Muay Thai division right now. 4 guys on the same gym in the top 10. So they're taking over, but that could also spell problems for the division because they also won't be fighting each other. And that could also stifle the division. You know what I mean? I think they should be fighting each other. So let's see. The point is, who wins here is the fans. We win because we get all these high-level fucking fighters competing in the same division. It's like dream matchups, and you want to see. This is what we see when we see the best guys fight each other. But if you look at the Thai guys that are there, oh, and Param Gerati, excuse me, he also fights from the Mehdi team. Who was the other dude that also fought? Brice Taval, another guy that's also fighting in this division. But Rambo Lek, Yod IQ, Kulab Dam, Super Lek, they can contest here. They can definitely contest against these Mehdi fighters. But all I'm saying is, as fans, I can't wait to see the growth of this division. It's just gonna be absolutely amazing, guys. It really is. But let's keep it moving to the co-main event. Yeah, co-main event where we saw Song Chanoi beat Salah Tanki Shin from Myanmar. I hope I'm saying it correctly. He is the co-owner of Shin. This was an atomweight Muay Thai fight. Really, really fun fight. Absolute barn burner. These guys were go getting it after each other. And I will say, hey, if Song Chanoi, if he didn't get that knockdown which he got in the second round, I don't know if would have won this fight. Very impressed with Salah Tan. He very, very impressed with his performance. Even though he lost the fight, he was aggressive. He was hungry. He wasn't afraid to stay toe to toe with Song Chanoi, knowing that Song Chanoi is just like the incredible Hulk in the atomweight division. Fought like a beast. Hits extremely hard. Loves to get the KOs. Super durable. And he was taking all the shots from Salah Tanki in terms of like high kicks, low kicks, fucking 1-2 pieces, elbows in the clinch. I mean, Song Chanoi was a bloody mess. Let me see if I can find this image. I know I used it on our X, on our post, or our thumbnail. Let me see if I can just find it here for you guys. It's just a nasty image, and hopefully that YouTube doesn't have a problem with me showing this. Wait, let me see if I can do it like this. Just bear with me, guys, because I think this was. Yeah. Just to show you like how wild this fight actually was. Look at Song Chanoi's face here. Showing on screen. Ah, there we go. There we go. Let me see if I can bring it up. At the stage. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Look at that cut, bro. Can't really zoom into it right now. But look at that stuff on his face. That was in this fight against Salah Tanki. Just shows you Salah was catching him with some good elbows, some really good stuff in the pocket, in all those wild exchanges, was catching him, bro. But this is the big but. Song Chanoi is the absolute dog that he is. Was taking these shots, right, and just kept on. He's like, come on, and just like tagging him, come on, come back, and like, just went in and boxed him even more, and got the knockdown because of that. Because he egged him on and got the knockdown. He landed some good shots on Salah and he got the knockdown, and yeah, won the fight on that decision, on that unanimous decision because of the knockdown. But I want to just say that I find Salah Tanki performance to be quite impressive. I'd love to see more of him fight because let's be honest, right? This was his debut, and he took on the fighter that was supposed to fight for the title against Nadaka Yoshinari. So he basically took on the the number 2 ranked fighter in the division in his debut. So yeah, very impressed with Salah. I'd love to see him fight again. For Song Chanoi, I think he needs to now wait in the wings to see what happens between Numsuddin and Nadaka Yoshinari on November 16th. And then we will know whether or not we will know who he will be fighting next, depending on who wins that fight. But yeah, great one. Great fight. I'm gonna keep it moving, boys and girls. Right, we saw Lam Nong Kong lose to Chat Mongkong by unanimous decision. This wasn't the most eventful one. I will say that of all the fights on this fight card, this was the one fight where I kind of breezed over it because I expected it to be a little bit boring. These guys fought before. I had no idea they fought before. The first fight, Chat Moncon won that fight via third round KO. In this fight, I think, yeah, it wasn't. I wasn't expecting it to go anywhere to make it be like a flashy fight. Purely because I've watched Lam Nong Kong fight a few times now, and he's not that impressive. I'm gonna say it now. He puts on boring fights. He puts on fights where he primarily only boxes, right? Which is kind of one dimensional, and fighters are able to get around it and able to piece him up because of that. It doesn't throw a lot of kicks. When it does throw kicks, it's like only body kicks. There's no calf kicks, no high kicks. It's only into the body and it barely even lands. Chat Kong was the aggressor here. He was better in the counters. He was cleaner in the strikes. He had better shot selection as well. Even though he was getting backed up all the time. Lam Nong Kong doesn't really do enough when he gets people backed up. He backs them up, but then he doesn't let the work go. No clinching, no elbows, just straight up boxing. And then when he misses the 1-2, lands in the clinch and then stays there. Yeah, so it was a little bit of an uneventful performance. Nothing. I thought it was the correct decision in my opinion for Chat Moncon. So I won't spend too much time on this one, just because there isn't much to break down. The fight didn't really get the hype going, if you know what I mean. So we'll keep it moving. Strawweight Muay Thai. We saw Ti taking on Sing Dam. Ti, I think, went up in weight here. He was actually competing in the atomweight for quite some time. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. That's a different Ti. But yeah, in this fight, I was very, very disappointed from Ti in his performance. Now, I'll explain why, because this was the big takeaway for me in the whole fight. Was he has a habit? He's got the Chito Vera style. Probably the most powerful guy in the division. He's got a lot of power in his hands, aggressive boxing, but he just doesn't land. He doesn't get going until the third round, and then he loses. He's down 2 rounds already. So it's like you can't choose or decide to put the best work on the fighter in the last round. You've just lost 2 rounds. You know what I mean? Why did you do that? He does it all the time, and it upsets me. Just like Chito Vera, it upsets me because just for once in your life, dude, in a fight, because now you're losing a lot of fights like this. Just for once in your career, bag the first round. Like, get aggressive early. Put the guy on the back foot. Punch a fucking hole in his chest early. Do it. You know what I mean? Do it. You've got a lot of stamina. You don't get tired. We don't see you get tired. So like, and your style lends itself to you to be able to have a lot of stamina because you're not high voluming somebody. You're not doing any of that stuff. You're walking them down. You're walking them down. You've been involving. You take a couple of shots. Put out a right hand. You're walking them down. You put out a left hand, and then bang, liver shot. You hurt him. Bang, liver shot. You hurt him again. Over and right. Fight's over. Right? You got that's your style. It's very methodical. Choose your shots very carefully. Secure your stamina, which is masterful, right? But just maybe do it early. You don't have to go high pace for the whole fight, but just at least out of a 3 round fight, bag the first round. Then you can then you can fight the way you fight in round 2 and round 3, where you can take your time. You can give up the second round if you want to. Since 1-1, and in the third round, I'm gonna put the pressure on this Brown. I'm gonna fuck him up. But at least give us that. Don't stand there and become a human punching bag. and then only at the third round you decide to want to put some hands on somebody. It's too late. And this was that performance. What are you saying, yeah, AD? PG going John Lineker on these. But you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm sure you guys agree with this. Especially if you got that in your arsenal. You know what I mean? Especially if you got the Chito Vera bold style. And you know for a fact that you can go 5 rounds quite easily. You know that you got the boxing. Why don't you just maybe up and be a little bit more strategic on how to navigate the 3 rounds then? Because what we've seen with Ti and Singdam was Singdam was throwing only one weapon. Fucking left high kick, left body kick, left high kick, left body kick. No calf kicks. No calf kicks from Singdam. He only threw it to the fucking arm and he only threw it to the head, making Ti block, boom, block, body block, block. And seeing Dam will go, switch stance, body kick. Walk back, body kick. Body kick, walk back, body kick. He was literally walking back the whole time. He was prepared to give up the distance for you to take him down, for you to walk him down. And then he body kicks you. Like, and it doesn't even land. It goes into your arm. You're blocking it. So it's like, it was upsetting me because it was like a rinse and repeat for fucking 9 minutes. I was like, is he not going to change anything here? Is TI not going to do anything different? Is Singdam going to throw a different weapon? Is he going to do something going to change in this fight? Because if it continues like this, TI is never going to win fights. If he fights like this, he's never going to win fights. People don't knock him out. They don't TKO him, right? But they just out-volume him the whole time. And he just goes there, block, jab, block right to the body, block, the whole time for 9 minutes. What's the point, bro? What are you doing in there? What are you saying here, AD? Yeah, bro, Cheeto 2.0. Facts. No excuses, honestly. Yeah, agreed. Just cowardice, poor game planning by the coaches. I think it's poor game planning. If we as the fans can see this, the coaches should be doing something different about it. Exactly. You there training the bra. You in his camp, you teaching him what to do and what not to do. We as fans are witnessing it, and there's no way, absolutely no way, that anyone can dispute what your eyes are seeing. You know what I mean? You're seeing something, you're pulling out what you're seeing, whether you are right or wrong. Doesn't really matter because you are calling out what you're seeing. What will change here is that the coaches may have more depth to us than the fans about what to do and what not to do because they're there, they're coaching these fighters, they're in the game, right? But fuck it, bro. We watch these fighters fight every fucking year. I've watched TI fight a number amount of times, and I've watched this pattern countless times. I'm like, he's losing fights, he's not going. He's losing fights because he's not getting on his bike. He's losing fights because he's giving up rounds. It's like Cheeto Vader. Sorry, I'm spitting all over the place here because of the stupidity. Anyway, let's keep it moving, boys. The next fight. Yeah. Let's keep it moving. All right, this was a fun fight. I just want to quickly see something. I just want to remind myself how the KO actually was. Boom. Boom. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. I just needed to remind myself. I remember that this fight, because I was I remembered more of like the bad defense from Team Tong in this fight. Bad defense. So they fought each other before. Team Tong won that fight on decision. I thought he was going to do the same thing here by piecing him up. 80. Damn, bro. Yeah. And this is what I want to highlight. This is what I want to highlight about this fight and what led to that that KO finish. Beautiful KO finish. Right? Anyone that has been watching Kun Suek fight, he's only 21 years old, right? He's got a number of fights in one championship, right? I've watched his fights a lot of time, and I thought to myself, I'm a fan of this guy. He's young, he's vibrant, and he's a cool guy to watch, and I like his style. He's aggressive. But everyone knows that Kun Suek is a boxer by first nature. That's what he does, right? He's not going to kick your calves. He's not going to tip you in the stomach where you can't breathe. He's a boxer. He loves to box. That's his buzz. Granted, right? So for any other fighter that's going to fight against him, you kind of know what to train for. You watch the tape on him, you'll see his style. He doesn't change it up at all. You know what he's going to do. It's pressure, strong boxing. And Tim Tong knew this. What Too Big Tong did wrong in this fight was, I think he was a bit too arrogant. And what he did was he wasn't covering up. There was before that knockout that you saw in that footage now. He was getting tagged, and what he was doing was the PTT. He was doing the PTT, bro. My guy was putting his face here and like, punch me, come on, punch me the whole time. And I'm like, are you gonna defend this? Are you gonna duck under? Are you gonna get the guard up? You know what I mean? Are you gonna separate a little bit from distance and feint and get him with the right hand? Are you gonna do something different? My guy was like, just give me the shot, give me the shot. I'm gonna give me the shot. And it upset me because it's like, you're a professional fighter. Why are you fighting like this? You know what I mean? It's like if you're watching footballers play, and now every time I'm gonna get a penalty, I'm gonna kick it over the poles because I'm just gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? And you're a professional footballer. Are you fucking missing a penalty all the time? So it's like in this fight, as fighters, you're professional fighters. How on earth is your guard not up? How on earth is your are your hands here on the and you're trying to do this with your head? I don't get it. I don't get it. You can still beeben and wobbing or wobbing and beeben, whatever the fucking term is called. You can still do this while keeping your hands here. You can still parry shots from this region, you know, while your hands are here. You're giving yourself an opportunity to be defensive in the line of fire. But don't put your hands down here and then only use your head to defend striking. And he says only Yiri Praska. And Bampara Kuyate. But even what's in name? Shadow slipped him while putting his head like this. You know what I'm saying? It's an MVP. I get you. They can do it, but it's such a high risk. It's such a high risk, bro, to do that. I mean, Yiri Praska was doing that stuff and Pereira was like, well, I'm just gonna sleep you. You know, MVP hasn't had it yet, but when he fought against Douglas Luiz slept him. Douglas is like, oh, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. Well, there's a right hand. Sleep. Why don't you? You know what I mean? So yeah, I just think that Tup Tim Tong, and it's not just him. There's a lot of Thai fighters that do this actually, where they defend boxing in a way where they really do abandon the basic fundamentals of how to defend a fucking punch. The basic fundamentals of how to defend a punch. They forget about. They just throw it out of the window. When you watch Rotang and Super Leg, for example, I know Rotang does it sometimes and he shakes his head like that and made him famous. But watch him fight. He does keep his hands up. When people come at him and with strikes, he does defend. Super Leg as well. When people come forward and they hit him, and they go for shots in Super Leg, my dude is putting his hands up. These guys are defending. They're not just trying to, you know, prove to you they can take your best shot. They use fundamentals. Yeah, bro, agreed. It looks good when it comes off, but so bad when they get caught. Yeah, it's so bad. It really is so bad, and it is something that's phenomenal when you're getting it right. Because you can land something sharp from keeping your hands down here, and poof, you can really catch someone with something big by doing that. You really can. But it's so risky. It's so risky in both MMA and in Muay Thai. Now if you're gonna look at what Shadow did to Bampara, he knew Bampara was gonna be this guy that's gonna be on the back and he's gonna dance around you like this, right? It was like, fuck that. I'm gonna elbow you, my friend. I'm gonna close the distance, clinch and elbow you. I'm gonna give you no space to be dancing around me like that. You know what I mean? You can easily eliminate that by just putting them in the clinch, what up on their ass, and put an elbow in through his face. You know what I mean? In MMA, I take you the fuck down. Now we're gonna grapple. You can't be doing this while we're grappling. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of ways to get away from that on fighters. What's Eddie saying? Do you think fighters who have their fundamentals in boxing and transition to Muay Thai have an advantage over pure Muay Thai fighters? Yes, I do think so actually. The way where it becomes tricky for them is if they're fighting fighters that are primarily clinch fighting fighters, like your Warapons, for example. Shadow is another example. In fact, a lot of the Singhai Mawin fighters fight like that. They fight within clinching, which then mitigates the boxing. Elbow counters also mitigate the boxing. But in 6-ounce gloves, a pure boxer, right, that comes in there has a high chance of getting the KO. High chance, especially because Muay Thai traditional fighters don't defend boxing with fundamentals. They don't They don't defend like that. They defend with their hands out. They defend with their hands out. Boxers are gonna catch them every time. And if you look at John Lineker is a good example. If you look at fighters that are outside of Thailand, so if you look at the let's take the Mehdi fighters for example, right? They've learned how to really use this combination of kickboxing and Muay Thai together. You don't really see the Mehdi fighters throw a lot of elbows and clinching, right? But you see them use a lot of boxing fundamentals with the kicks. And the Thai fighters struggle with this. They struggle with that boxing. They really do because it's not something that they train primarily. They train very differently to that. So, yeah, I think the good boxing fundamentals is a very, I would say, advantageous weapon to use in a traditional Muay Thai fight. I really do think. Malatesta, another example. Watch him fight. Tayakaev, pure boxing. Watch them fight. These guys are KOing people in Thailand because of that style. It's a style that the Thai fighters. I don't know why they don't train around it, which is quite interesting actually. But yeah, I think boxing fundamentals in Muay Thai is an advantage to that. I agree. I think that's a good question. Thank you for that comment. But I think because I've seen it enough since watching one championship. You can go watch our early videos I did. A very early video I did. And I spoke about this actually. When you look at pure boxing fighters that fight against traditional Muay Thai guys in Thailand in one championship, the boxing guys seem to win. And that's also because the risk is so high. I mean, the fact that they're fighting in 4-ounce gloves, it's like it's almost as close to bare knuckle. So, yeah, if you go in there and smash, you can get the KO. You can get it. You really can. Um, but then obviously you get people like Superlek and Superbon who have proven that sharp counters with the elbows um, bypasses the boxing because the range is shorter. Elbow. You coming forward, triple jab, and I time the overhand right. And as I see the overhand right come in, guard up, elbow through there. I'm gonna catch you. I'm gonna catch you with the elbow because the distance for me to cover is a lot shorter. But yeah, at the end of the day, it always comes down to fighters and game plans. It really comes down to that at the end of the day because all these different styles have got one ups on each other and they have disadvantages, buffs and debuffs. But it all comes down to how fighters game plan against each other. Like for example, Nontachai and Soner Sen. Nontachai won the fight because he had the right game plan. He had the correct game plan to win that fight. But okay, I'm gonna keep it moving. Tap Luang versus Fa Mong Ko. This was the two debutant fighters, also very late replacement or late addition to the fight card. They replaced the one MMA fight that was on this fight card. They replaced that fight. And it was an absolute brawl. Absolute brawl. Tap Long is just a dog, my bro. Absolute dog. I'm going to show you guys the KO because fuck it. It was devastating. Just nuts. Just look at this madness. Boom. Boom. and this came in it was close to happening in the first round, by the way. Tap Luang was close to getting him out of there in the first round as well. Just good again to our conversation, 80. Good boxing fundamentals from Tap Luang in this fight. He didn't use any elbows, he didn't go into the clinch, he stayed on the outside and he was tagging the body and he went up to the head and he was to the body and back up to the head and he was using good boxing fundamentals. Also a very good strategy, which is a nice simple strategy to work on. Anybody knows this. If you start to the body, you will most likely be successful when you go to the head. Because when you start at the body, your fighter or your opponent has no choice but to defend it. They have to bring that guard down. Otherwise, they're going to get KO'd with a body shot. So they have to go down. And when they go down, come upstairs, bang, and you can knock them out. So Tap Luang developed a very good game plan in this fight, and he took it forward and deserved that KO. I can't really add much value to the recap for this fight because it was two very new guys. What I will say this is neither guy missed weight. He's in the flyweight division, so that's phenomenal. So that means they might see them fight more frequently. And Tap Luang, one to watch. He's fun, he's fast, sharp boxing. very accurate, and he's got power in those hands. And again, this was 4 ounce Muay Thai, and you can see how easy it is for we've watched so many Friday fights cards, so many fight night cards. People are getting KO'd easily here in this organization. That's because they don't have to worry about any takedowns. There's no jiu-jitsu, obviously, even though that's separate. But in Muay Thai, there's lots of KOs because it's 4 ounce gloves, jabs, stiff jabs can put you away. You know what I mean? So that's why, again, coming back to our conversation, 80, fundamental boxing would be a high priority for me. Excuse me, high priority in the sport here. You can get easy knockouts if you have good boxing. But okay, I'll keep it moving. Sonrak beating Yamin, first round KO. And surprise, surprise, I did say Sonrak was going to win, but I thought he was going to win on decision. Pardon me, just like he does all the time. He's the kind of guy that fights back foot body kick, just like Singh Dam fought in the fight against what's his name, PI. Same thing, back foot, body kick, body kick, body kick. What I found impressive from Sonrak in this fight was he actually went forward. He went forward and let the hands go, and I was like, oh shit, different style. This is not how I know Sonrak to fight, right? And Yamin is the kind of guy that does that. He's the one that goes forward and lets the hands go. He's the knockout specialist between the two of them. Right? He's the taller fighter as well. So, and he also spoke like he was going to go in there and get the KO. Now, he was out for a full year. And I don't know if that was probably what played into this fight as to why he looked the way he looked. But Sonrak was smart. He landed some good shots. And then when Yamin came in hard and fast, he launched himself forward. Sonrak took a really good angle. He took an angle, stepped back, and he counted, right hooked him, dropped him down, and that was the KO. There was an 8 count, but Yamin didn't make it up. He couldn't get back to his feet, and Sonrak won the fight. So I'm super impressed. I got super hyped for it because this is Sonrak's second finish in all his fights in one championship. I think he's got 12 fights. I think only 2 finishes now. So well done. I think he got a bonus as well. The fight didn't go long enough because it was a very early KO. I think it was like within the first 40 seconds. Didn't go any further than that. So I couldn't really break anything else down. But I think Yamin got a little bit hesitant because he was getting backed up and he was getting a little bit pieced up. Not hesitant, he got a little bit antsy. So he just darted himself forward to kind of get something. But in darting forward, he banded the defense and he got countered with a beautiful check hook from Sonrak. And yeah, deserved the win, deserved the bonus. Fun fighter, bantamweight Muay Thai. Let's see if we can get him a contract, bro. Next fight, he should be fighting someone that's arguably close for a contract or even got a contract. Because Sonrak is on a good streak, if I'm not mistaken. He only had like 2 losses in the organization in the number of fights, guys. So 28 years old. Yeah, 6 losses, 8 wins. So it's a ton of fights. Put the who's. I'm saying let's get this guy closer to a contract, boys. Let's get him closer to a contract. It's just because he hasn't gotten finishes, man. Fans are like, but now he's got that finish. And in terms of game plan in 3 rounds, you can always bet the house on him. He's a safe fighter. Not the most entertaining, but he's a safe fighter. He does get wins safely. You know what I mean? So I think he can still be. What I'm trying to say here is that he can still be a problem for the division. But I do believe, watching a lot of his fight styles and looking at the top 10 of the bantamweight division, I still think those guys will smoke him. But you can let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm going to keep it moving to the next fight. Chowdhury loves finish. Yeah, he does love a finish, right? I think if Chowdhury can stop or like really bring the amount of bonuses down to almost like 1 or 2 bonuses per card, nothing more than that, he could actually give out more contracts. Just saying that now. I think if Chowdhury can lessen the amount of bonuses, because he's given out weekly, he's giving out like 50 to almost 70K bonus dollars now, US dollars weekly. weekly. On this Friday Fights cards, there were four or five bonuses. That's $50,000, right? Sometimes he gives out more than that. And when he has double week or double XP week, right, which is now back to back cards on the weekend, Friday Fights and a Fight Night card. If you do the two cards together, he's giving out 100,000, almost 150,000 bonus. Everyone's getting 10k. Some fighters are getting 50k on a fight night card. If you're giving out the one fight night, the last double fight week we had, there were 150k bonus on the fight night card. So there were 3 fighters that got 50k each. That's $150,000. The Friday Fights cards that took place hours before that, there were 7 bonuses. It's 70k. $200,000 were over $200,000 was given away in bonuses over 2 fight cards over a weekend. In my opinion, I'm like, stop the fucking bonuses, bro, and make it 1 or 2 bonuses per card. Then you can give out more contracts. More contracts means more fighters in a division. Top 10 means fans can follow. More incentive for the fighters to fight. Less bad weight cuts. More fights in a particular weight class. Everything solves itself after that. That's just in my opinion. But it all starts from the boss being strict about this. Like putting your fucking foot down, bruh. And making some heavy decisions here. Shout out to the LOL. He needs money to pay the office workers. Yeah, and fucking fix the website as well. Please fix your website. So many mistakes on the website. You have to get this fixed. Have to. But okay, I'm gonna keep it moving, boys. PG for president. We gotta get the badge. PG for president badge. President of one championship. I'm fired up. I mean, look, I'm saying what I'm saying because this is the blueprint that worked for the UFC. You know what I mean? And I think one championship can literally do that. They don't have to make only MMA fight cards and only kickboxing fight cards. You can still stick to what you guys are doing. But I think you're going to have a little bit more integrity and a bit more balls in the decision making when it comes to the brand and the organization, because I don't like this one fight contract deal with all these fighters and then they're relying on their bonuses and there's no money for contracts. I wonder why. It almost feels like the money expenditure is going in the wrong direction. A fucking mobile fight app that is failed miserably. A TV show about The Apprentice, which has failed miserably. You know what I mean? Why don't you start a Tough House and make that a TV show? And you can run Grand Prix. You know, I just blows my mind that a fight brand is doing The Apprentice. Why is a fight promotion doing a TV show called The Apprentice? The math is not math in here, bruh. It's not mathing at all. But okay, boys, let's keep it moving to the next fight. We'll talk about that stuff in our new segment tomorrow. Yeah, we're just talking about some fights. This was a very good fight. We had a bantamweight Muay Thai again. Lots of bantamweight fights. Dechawalet returned to the ring, taking on debutant Ivan Boudin from Uruguay. Good fighter, good record as well. Lots of experience. But Dechawalet is a high level fighter, talented young man, only 17 years old. I watched his previous fights and I was like, I'm impressed with what he's like, but I want to see more. I want to see what it's like when he goes up against guys with more quality. Ivan, I don't know if he was the guy with more quality, but he came in with a much bigger resume than Dechawalet's. But the first round finish was nasty. This was probably one of the KOs of the night with the front teep kick, very reminiscent of Anderson Silva versus Vitor Belfort. Very similar, very similar. Caught him coming in as well because Ivan was like still, no, I lie. Dechawalet was going forward. Ivan was actually going backwards, but then tried to step forward. And when he did that, boom, front kick, knocked him the fuck out. I was like, yo, what the hell is this? I'll bring it up on screen for you guys to have a look because I think it's worthy of that. So please have a look at this. It was one of the nastiest. You can. Also, I don't know why the referee was doing an 8 count. This guy wasn't even making the first 4 seconds. He went 1, 2, 3, 4. The fighter wasn't even making no eye contact with the referee, none whatsoever. I'm like, why are you even doing an 8 count? This man's not gonna get up, bruh. He's not he's not gonna make it back from this. But the referee still did the 8 count anyway, and I just felt that was one of the nastiest deep kicks you'll see in one championship, because there's a lot of deep kicks in UFC. But in one championship, there was a very beautiful front deep kick to the face that just ended his whole career right there. Then Charlton Ivan Packing, absolutely throw up the nose. That's kakfadi, throw up the nose. My bro, it was just a beautiful front kick, beautiful, and he was piecing him up before that. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it was just out of nowhere. Like Echawalet was piecing him up before that happened, and landed a very good front kick. Eddie says, "Gotta get to work, bro. Catch you on the news tomorrow. Much love, bro. Much love. Good luck with your session. Knock them dead, and I will see you on the new segment tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Oh yes, we are going to be doing our new segment live tomorrow. Chat. So we'll drop out a promo for that as well. So we're going to try and do our one championship new segment live for the first time tomorrow, just to see what it looks like. See if you guys want to join that conversation as well, because we are going to be breaking down some stuff that we feel might need to change of the organization of one championship. Anyway, much love, Eddie. Check you on the next side, but I'll check on the next one. Let's go. Let's keep it moving, boys. Let's have a KO of the night. All right. Betsy Ham took on Ryuki Matsuda from Rise Kickboxing, champion out of Rise Kickboxing as well. Betsy Ham, also 2-division champion of RWS. So we are champion versus champion here in this fight. Strawweight Kickboxing. I'm gonna say this now, and I will actually break it down more in depth when we myself and Eddie are talking about it together, because I think he agrees with me here, and we can do it. It's nice to do it together. But I think I'm gonna say this now. Thailand, one championship is starting to get called out for the favoritism for the Thai fighters here, and it's going down as what they're calling Thai One Championship or Thai Championship, the Thai Fight Championship, if you will. Any name works for me, because whenever it's a close contested fight, neither fighter gets knocked down. It almost every time goes to the Thai fighter. Every time. In this fight, I don't know if I give it to Pitsiam. I don't think so. I watched it back again, and Pitsiam was doing a good job at playing back foot counter the whole time. He got out-volumed. He really got out-volumed, in my opinion. Good strikes from Ryuki. Fucking awesome uppercuts. Backing up Pitsiam. Forcing to fight on the back foot. And again, all Pitsiam had was a back foot fucking body kick. There were moments where he did land some good punches on Ryuki, but not enough. Not enough. You know why? Because it didn't back up Matsuda. It didn't stop him. It didn't rock him. It didn't put him down. It didn't knock him down either. None of those things, which is very important to you getting points, it didn't work. So there wasn't enough, not enough strikes, in my opinion, where Matsuda landed all the time and he was backing him up with that strikes, backing a good footwork. I just feel like we need to start calling the shit out. I see it in the live chat on the One Championship on YouTube, where people are calling it out a lot of the times, because it's like it does look that way. It could just be a fan bias, the way we see with our goggles. But fuck it, man. I watch a lot of fights now, and I just feel like we are seeing a lot of Thai fighters winning when it comes to very, very close calls for the fights. And they go, okay, we give it to the Thai guy. Which is mad, because every time a Thai fighter lands something, it's oi, oi in the crowds, oi, oi, people going crazy. And the judges are all but just humans, right? It's not an automated system for the judges, and they're not controlled by AI, right? It's human beings doing this. And we can, as humans, get affected by the fans. We see it in all sports. We see it in football as well. Home crowd gets onto the referee. The referee makes calls that favors the home team. Just like over here, if the fans are only going to cheer for the home fighter every time the fighter lands something, it's going to play an effect on the judges, right? Even though the home fighter isn't landing nearly enough as the away fighter, but the home fans are gonna make the noise and it's gonna play a role. It's gonna play a role in the judging. I don't know if Pitsiam actually won this fight, but they gave it to him anyway, and I don't even want to say well done. I'm just gonna say okay, whatever. Bro. But I think Ryuki beat him. And I think something needs to be considered here about that because you can't keep scoring the fight for someone that's going backwards. You're defending the whole time. How are you getting the points for defending, bro? You know what? Unless you're doing something with that defense, but I honestly I can't give it to him. I think Matsuda outstruck him and should have got the dub. But okay, we keep it moving. Give me your thoughts in the comments. We keep it moving. Lenise Bylander took on Sansak, and Sansak did a good job in the first round. Like he had a good clinching, he had good strikes landed. He was making Lenise Bylander going backwards. But then Bylander utilized his reach really well in combinations and started going forward. Second round and third round, if I'm not mistaken, I think he might have got, I can't remember now, but I think he might have gotten the knockdown in the second or third round. But he was, might have been second round. But he won the fight because he had the higher volume strikes. He started asserting the dominance in the second and third round, walking forward, sharper in the counters, backing up Sansak. And again, just winning the fight overall by having more strikes landing and dictating the pressure, dictating the movement of the fight as well. I like his style. I really do like his style. I thought he fought a good job. He's tall for bantamweight. That's something to be recognized. He's a very tall bantamweight fighter. So I think in due time, he's gonna be a prospect. I don't know if he's gonna be a thorn in the foot of the top ranking fighters of the division. Not right now, at least. But he's gonna have to go through some more fights first before we get there. Maybe he gets a Tyson Addison next. You know, maybe an unranked fighter that's still very very good. Like a Tyson Addison would be really nice to watch. So let's see. Kendo Irving is also there. You know, one of those guys he could go up against. I don't think feeding him to the Wolves is a good idea just next. But a good talented fighter. I want to see a little bit more of him. This is the fight I thought was really impressive. Titus Proctor. Let's go. Titus Proctor. Thought he fought a very good fight against Liu Quan. Liu Quan looked like he was a weight above Titus here. This is lightweight Muay Thai, by the way. I thought Titus was sharp with his boxing, good pressure, good counters. Looked a little bit tired after round 2 or even round 1. He looked a little bit tired for me, but he stuck it out there. Lucky for him, Liu Quan was also tired and really didn't have anything going forward for him. Whenever he did get aggressive, Titus was sharp, kept his guard up, cut angles, countered him, put him back up, got the pressure going forward again. Which is good. Again, to answer Eddie's question, good boxing fundamentals is going to work. That's how he was able to get the KO. He walked him down in the third round, smashed him, body shot, right hook, dropped him, never came back from that, and deserved the KO. I thought Titus is a good prospect, 21 years old. He's now 22-0 in overall record, 14 times Muay Thai champion in New Zealand. I think he's going to be something to watch in the lightweight division. Is he going to be a champion? I don't know. I mean, Regan Ursel is at the moment looks to be unbeatable right now. So I don't know what to make of it, but I think he's going to be a good addition to that division. I really do think so. He's a fun guy. Might even go down to featherweight and be a bit of a problem there because he looks like a small lightweight to me. He looks like a small 155er. A 170 pounder. So let's see what he does. Because the rest of the other guys in this division they are quite tall and pretty stacked as well. But okay, let's keep it going because my time is ticking here and I got other things to also get to as well. But okay, Titus Proctor, fun fighter. But I'll keep it moving, boys. Last fight on the fight card we saw, which was the opening fight on the fight card. We saw Alfie Lynch from the UK, 23 years old. He was obviously another well-known name. People were loving him when they walked into the ring. Shuma Okimura is a prospect from Rise Kickboxing as well, and dude, top tier. I'm impressed. I am hella impressed of Shuma Okimura. Love the way that he fought. Looks like shades of Naraka Yoshinari, my bro. This guy was just in a different world, fighting the Matrix out there, just doing all sorts of stuff. that Alpha Lynch had no idea what to do with. Wasn't privy to any of it. The calf kicks, the body kicks, the teeps, the counter boxing, the sharp strikes. Just there was nothing that Alfie Lynch could do in this fight. He was chasing shadows. He was shelling up. I'm gonna show you the result quickly. He was shelling up. Just watch this. Look at this. Look at this guy. Our guy is doing. He's doing all sorts of stuff. Alfie Lynch didn't know what to do, and Alfie was the taller and heavier fighter, by the way. And he didn't know what on earth to do. He had no answers for the speed. He had no answers for the weapon of choice. He was just bamboozled the whole time. He didn't know what the hell to do. So well done. And I'm looking forward to Shuma Okimura in the strawweight division, kickboxing, where JDB is the champion. And I've been saying this for a while. In pure strawweight kickboxing in one championship right now, pure kickboxing fighters, there's nobody for JDB. The roster is not big enough for JDB. He's going to go through rematches here. And what they're going to do is they're going to bring strawweight Muay Thai guys over to fight him in kickboxing, or they're going to force him to go down to Muay Thai. So they have to bring more kickboxers to fill up the division. Shuma Okimura, if he keeps going, was the other guy that fought on this card? There we go. Ryuki Matsuda, another strawweight. The two of them can stay in the division, stay in the organization, and keep going up the rankings. They could pose some good threats to JDB. I do think so. I think they can pose some good fights against JDB. You know what I mean? The speed and the accuracy of Okimura. I was like, this guy is fucking good. I want to see more of him. But okay, chat, that is my time. Thank you for tuning in. Much love to everybody. I really have to get going. But appreciate to everybody that's tuned in. We got up to 10 likes. Much love to all of you guys. Just a little bit of what you can expect from us here at Fighting with Friends for this week. What we're going to be doing, we are going to be doing another live one championship news segment, which is going to be on tomorrow, Tuesday morning, South African time. And you guys will probably get it in your evening or afternoon, wherever you guys are tuning from. And then on Wednesday, I'll be releasing a UFC preview for a very shitty fight card for the UFC this weekend. Thursday, I will be releasing, obviously, the One Championship 131 preview for you guys, nice and early, so you can get it out that day. And then we're going to be doing a live watch along for One Friday Fights as usual. But it's going to be a little bit different location. We're going to maybe do it into a watch party. So stay tuned for that one. That's going to be on Friday. So yeah, on that note, from myself and the rest of the Fighting with Friends team, have yourself a fantastic week. Happy Monday to all. Have a very good week, and we will catch us on the next one. Cheers, and thank you, everybody. Thank you.